What's up, everybody? Welcome to... This is episode 1. We did do a pilot episode, I guess, over on JCS Gaming. And I have already done a couple episodes of this show years ago, but now I decided to make it, you know, a thing every week. So, pretty happy to be doing this. Unfortunately, I don't know if Jake DeMarco forgot or he fell asleep. But he ain't here, so maybe he'll wake up or maybe he'll realize I'm live. But I think he might have died or something, or passed out or something. But we are here anyway with D-Moon, Himmelgod, Leah, and myself. And this is going to be our podcast, which is the theme today is the same theme I had a couple years ago. It is the best controller. What are the best controllers for this, for whatever system? What's your favorite controller? Why, you know, we're going to talk about all that stuff and kind of reminisce about the controllers of the past and what could happen in the future with controllers and all kinds of that stuff. And then our side conversation was going to be about Battle Royale, so we'll talk a little bit about Battle Royale games and, you know, where that's going to go. That'll be sort of the second topic, but right now, depending on how long this one takes, we'll talk about our favorite controllers or whatever. And you guys in the chat, if you guys want, you guys can super chat, tell us what your favorite one is or whatever that is, and we'll try to acknowledge it if we can get a chance to do that. So try to super chat it so we see it, and that's it. Let's go to D-Moon first, because he was the former champion. I feel like the former champion should, I guess, speak first. I don't know, just give you some kind of consolation or something. I don't know.
Well, did D-Moon pack that belt yet? Did you pack it up?
No, it's already packed up, man, with air fresheners and everything, man.
Up, take it out and just go ahead and put it out for everybody.
I got to give it to him, though, because he'll probably get it out faster than anybody else. Like, me and Ken took 2 weeks each together, and then everybody else. I mean, you know, he's pretty good, I bet.
If he's already got it packed, he's already ahead of both.
He's already ahead of us, yeah.
So I guess we're starting off with the favorite controllers, right?
Yeah, like, what's your favorite controller?
So, I mean, this is probably going to be a little off for some people, but to me, one of the best controllers I've ever used was the Nintendo GameCube. So before, I used to play Super Smash Brothers. I used to play that game competitively a lot with my friends. And for some reason, I don't know, this is before the Xbox controller came out, because, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people love the Xbox controller, the 360. And,
yeah.
Well, rightfully so. I mean, that's probably like my second favorite controller of all time. But the GameCube controller, I don't know, man. It was the first to really put the analog sticks in, like, you know, a really unique position, I guess you will. You had the top right, the top analog stick on the left, and then the bottom right. I don't know, just the positioning of it. I don't know. It felt so good to me. And playing Super Smash Brothers with it, it was like you cannot go back to any other controller with this.
I will tell you, I did not play the GameCube much. I didn't play it much. Like, I was already out of Nintendo at that point. But what I will say is, man, when I put my hands on that controller, I don't know what it was, but your hands just, like, melted into that thing.
Yeah, I loved that controller. That was one of the ones I was going to bring up tonight, was that controller.
Yeah, it's so funny too, because like even nowadays, like with the new Nintendo consoles, they still announce, like, specifically for Super Smash Brother games, like they still have like adapters so that you can use GameCube controllers, because like, you know, professional players that, you know, pro Smash players, I guess if you call them, they still prefer that controller over anything else. I mean, that just goes to show you how great it is. I mean, yeah, that's my personal favorite, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, but when you look at, like, what was it, the new Smash Brothers that's going to be coming out this year, and they added the compatibility to use GameCube controllers with it, I thought that was a really big deal. So, you know, a lot of people are used to that, because that was one of the better games, was the one that was on the GameCube. So that was huge. And hopefully they have like a special, it looked like they had a special controller showing during the Direct. They showed the GameCube version of the controller for Super Smash Brothers. So,
you know, another game that was great for that controller was Soul Calibur.
Oh, yes, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, you could really, like, I don't know what it was like for, the only thing I could imagine that controller was difficult for people is if they had big hands, like really big hands.
I don't know, I mean,
huge hands, and GameCube controller is my favorite of all time.
Oh, so there you go.
Oh, there you go.
That we started with GameCube.
Like, it was really, it's like even the, I feel like I hope I'm remembering correctly. Even like the right bumper and left bumper had like sort of a sensitivity to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I play like Super Mario Sunshine, and like you had like this water pack, and so like you had like different intensities that you could like use and stuff like that. Yeah, I know.
You know what's funny too? Like competitive Smash players used to open up the controller and take out the springs on the bumper just to get a faster reaction to it. I mean, I don't know if like you guys ever did that. I actually did that too, and it actually works. I don't know, man. That controller was just like too good. I love the GameCube controller.
I never got that crazy into Smash. Like I followed the subreddit, and there's just so much crazy shit that the technical shit people do is insane. I just like smashing people, stupid friends. Like
I even said, Troy. I told them, Troy, I might have played GameCube a total of like, I don't know, 12 hours in my life. I've played GameCube probably 12 hours in my entire life.
You missed out.
Well, you know what it was? I was so busy playing PlayStation 1 or whatever.
I played that too. I played all of them.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't have every system.
The difference is you were too busy having a life while I stayed home and just played, like, every system that there was.
Well, but the thing, like, I knew that controller felt good. Like, I loved it. Generated G53 hit us with a super chat. Said, my favorite will always be the N64. We'll talk about that probably in a few minutes, Generated. That's obviously another Nintendo, but when did GameCube come out? 99?
2000?
2000?
Yeah.
2001, 2002?
See, because I was number one. Oh, I was playing Xbox. That's why I was all in on Halo. I was at LAN parties for Halo. I had no time for GameCube. I was like, oh, that's a kid's toy. I'm playing Halo. You know, I'm seriously. That's what it was. I was like, that's kid stuff. I'm at a LAN party right now. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, that's what it was. I know that's what it was.
I went to LAN parties.
I did the same thing.
What, Brian?
I was the same way.
Yeah.
Always at a LAN party playing Halo. Dude, that was the shit back in the day, man.
Dude, that was so cool. I would skip school. Like, I would go out late. One night I took my car, you know, when I got my car for the first time, you know, got my license and everything, and I remember just sneaking out of the house, jumping in the car, throwing fucking TV and Xbox in the car and driving to somebody's house.
You know what it was too though with the GameCube. I don't remember on launch date how much it cost, but I do remember like for a longest time it was like $100. That's another thing that was a great selling point too. I don't know.
It was like 100, not even 200. I think it was like around $100.
Yeah, I remember for the longest time it was $100.
Part of the reason I got is because they had the Star Wars game on there, so I wanted the Star Wars game.
Yeah,
I think I had that on I think that was out for Xbox. It was Knights of the Old Republic, and also
they had,
Obi-Wan Kenobi too was really good. I thought,
right, yeah, they had the whatchamacallit, the sequel to Rogue Squadron. It was, and I was like, yeah, I'm hooked for that game.
Let's see what.
Yeah, I was all on Nintendo growing up. At NES, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Wii.
This video and podcast is made possible because of Patreon. You can hear more of these episodes in audio form and download several other ones on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, my official Patreon page, where you can hear the gaming podcasts, the Corrupted podcast every week, and podcasts that we do about everything else. Without patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, we wouldn't be able to do these videos. So think about becoming a patron because YouTube's censoring videos, not sending them out to you, not alerting you about them, and also taking away the ad revenue. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You can see it by going to the website on your computer, tablet, or downloading the app on your phone.
Pretty much up until Halo 3, that was Xbox 360 was the first console I ever bought. I eventually got a Sega from some other kid, and I had Game Boys, DS's, Game Boy Colors all the way up too, but
yeah,
it was always Nintendo.
I had Sega Genesis, like all the Nintendos, every Nintendo. And then I started with Sega Genesis. I didn't have the first one.
Yeah.
And then I had PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2, I got huge into PlayStation 2. Like in a ton of those games. But also, like, still Nintendo. Like, I always loved Nintendo. Like, those, because those games are fun, too, even though, you like you said, they're like, oh, they're little kid games or whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. Those games are fun. Like, Super Mario Sunshine. That game was the shit.
I feel like that's what happened to me. I grew out of platformers. Like, Majora's Mask might have been the last, like, platformer I really fully completed. After that, I just started to move away from it. Like I got short attention spans.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like
shooters.
That's the other thing is like my favorite series of all time is Zelda, and you're only going to get Zelda on Nintendo. That's exactly the only way you are ever going to get Zelda.
I think I tend to be I tend to focus on the whatever one thing at a time very slowly with games. So because but I played them all. 87, 86, we got the Nintendo, and then I got the Sega Genesis. I didn't get Super Nintendo, and then I got the PlayStation. So I really kind of skipped a lot. You didn't get
Super Nintendo though, but that's like one of the best Nintendos.
Okay,
my favorite console of all time.
Yeah, those games are awesome. Donkey Kong, I love out of all the Donkey Kongs, Super Nintendo Donkey Kong is the best Donkey Kong.
Country, the original Country.
Yeah.
I rented it a lot. Like I played Star Fox. I love Star Fox.
Rented it, like fucking rolling in them fucking money if you were able to rent that shit.
What do you mean?
You come from some. I swear to God, I don't know. because I remember seeing them.
It was $11 to rent it at the local store, and my mother had bought me Nintendo and Sega Genesis. But it was Nintendo and Sega Genesis. I owned Nintendo and Sega Genesis. My mother wasn't going to go, she just wouldn't let me buy Super Nintendo. I spent my money on more Sega Genesis games, you know what I mean?
The only time I got systems was when my grandparents, got divorced and they were fighting for our love. So, one would buy,
oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
One of them bought us the GameCube or whatever, or the PlayStation 1, and then what was the other thing that came out at the same time?
N64.
N64, yeah. That's literally how we got those two systems.
Super Nintendo. No, it was me.
They were I'm not joking. It was we got all those systems because they were fighting for our love.
Well,
I missed out on the SNES because I was playing Sega Genesis because I went from the Master System over to Genesis, started playing that, and I just completely forgot about Super Nintendo. So it's now I got that SNES Classic, so I get to go back and start playing all those old games that I missed out on. And I'm like, geez, I missed out on this fucking system. God damn, dude, this place is great.
But here's the other thing with that. A lot of the games that were on Super Nintendo, a lot of them were on Sega Genesis. They came out on both.
Say, those were very similar consoles for the longest time. Even probably more similar now than Xbox, PlayStation.
But let's go back to the controllers and we really getting off. We could just do it. We could do a 5-hour podcast on this. But let's get back to the controllers. So D Moon says he started this whole thing off with GameCube. Best controller for him is GameCube. Real quick, what's your second one?
I'd have to go with the Xbox 360. That's the second one.
All right, let's go. I definitely think I agree with you because that's for me. That's my. I'll just give mine real quick. That's my number one. Xbox 360 is my favorite controller of all time. And then probably second would be I don't know, maybe the original, the original Nintendo controller or something. I love that
Tough
original.
to argue that over the Super Nintendo one. Super Nintendo is more comfortable, rounded curves.
Yeah,
more buttons, 4 more buttons.
I think it's.
I always felt it was kind of small.
Yeah, it was. Nintendo was too.
But I don't know the Super Nintendo one. I always thought was kind of a little bit small.
Well, then you must have thought the original one was really small.
Yeah, I don't know. I was never crazy about how those fit in my hand.
I fit fine in my hand.
Or maybe it's more that they're flat.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that was just I was used to that. It got weird with Sega because they made the kind of more fat curved controller.
It can be that we're just used to better controllers now, and then back then it just looks well, how the hell did we play this?
Yeah, it probably wasn't a problem back then.
Well, let's go to Leah. Leah, what's your favorite controller?
I don't know if it counts, but I'd automatically say a keyboard and a mouse.
Yeah, I think it counts because that's how you play a game.
Wait for that to come out.
I like a keyboard better than a controller because a controller, a lot of games you have a set specific layout that you can choose from. But on a keyboard, I can set everything exactly how I want it. I can make it all, I can do all different key bindings and stuff like that. So I can I don't know, make it as best as I can to play. I don't know, it's just more comfortable. And also, I have never found a first-person shooter on any console that the sensitivity I can get right. it's either too fast, I move it down one, it's too slow. It's so I have that problem. It's probably just me not being able to use a controller for first-person shooters, but with a mouse, I don't have that problem. Like I play PUBG on the computer, and it's like my accuracy is probably like 100 times better than it is when we play on the Xbox.
Anybody should be on computer. It's point and click is definitely way easier. I mean, is anybody going to argue PC wouldn't be the best? It's the same if we had a console argument. Of course, PC's the best. You can customize.
I don't know when it comes.
Yeah.
I think when single players, I don't think it's as comfortable as a controller for PC. But I mean, that could just be my preference. I don't know.
You're right. Maybe in a situation where you don't need everything. Yeah, it's not like multiplayer in the heat of battle.
Yeah, if you're more in a competitive environment, then I can understand for keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
So it's always going to outdo a controller every time. So
yeah, as long as you're not facing like you're not on a keyboard mouse versus people on controllers, like, you'd crush them probably. If it was on, but like people do that on Xbox, like you guys said, like Leah said, it's like a $300 device, right, where you can convert it to a keyboard. I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, the argument you could make against a computer versus like a console, because I mean, like, is that when you buy a console, it comes like that's it. You've got everything set. You're right there. Everything, all the games that you buy for that are going to work on that. You don't need to work. Like when I buy a new computer game, I have to be like, holy shit, my graphics card is going to be able to hold up to this.
What, you didn't have the Nintendo 64 expansion pack? The Nintendo
Rumble pack.
128 megagram disk drive? Oh, wait, that never came out in America.
Hey, Casey Yates says, hey, Leah, how much do you like the Switch? I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I wish there was more games. I'm excited for Pokemon, so wait for that. I'm gonna wait, let's see, what is it?
I feel like that's traditional Nintendo, not trusting as much to third party. Always staying more on main company properties.
Well, then we got real quick, we got a couple more. Oh shit, damn it! I just screwed up. I messed up.
Uh-oh.
I mean, if I go to console systems, though, what controller I always really loved was the PlayStation 2.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
With the analogs, because the PlayStation 1 didn't have the analog sticks.
See, I'm really stingy.
So you go to PlayStation 2, and they had the analog sticks. And I don't know, it just always fit nicely in my hand. And the whole reason I didn't buy an Xbox was because of that bulky-ass, horrible controller.
Wait a minute, they had...
they call that the Duke.
Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Let's get into that
They just
next.
remade it. Somebody made a custom, I think it's like half officially endorsed, remake. They remade it.
I have two of them. I have two of the original ones from my original Xbox. I have them.
You can get them for Xbox One now, though. Somebody's making them and selling them.
Well, so real quick, first of all, PlayStation 1 did have both analog sticks.
Yeah, it did. I remember that.
Leah just
It
said
did?
Yeah. They
it came out a
had
little
them.
later, but it came out for it.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I'm thinking of the one that came with it, maybe, because I remember it was flat. It didn't have,
The original one was a flat.
Originally didn't have it.
Yeah, you're
later
right.
on
You're
they
right.
did
You know
one.
what? You're right. I'm wrong. You're right. I've got the original ones upstairs. I should know that.
See, the PlayStation ones were always too small for me and too awkward. It felt like it was designed by a robot. Like it never contoured to my hand. That's what the ones that my favorites are common is that they all kind of contour better.
Red Engine says, I'm pretty sure N64 was like 96, 97.
If N64 is it was 1996. And if N64 controller is your favorite, you're an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or have a deformity, in which case I apologize, but not because you have something that works for you.
That's the reason I didn't buy that console. That's the reason I didn't play N64.
Who else burned the shit out of their palms playing Mario Party on that plastic-ass joystick? At one point, you could actually mail away for a glove. Y'all remember that? It became an actual problem because so many kids were burning on their palm in their hand, spinning the joystick. For me, it was on the Piranha Plant Tug of War. I distinctly remember it was traumatic. Mario Party 1, Piranha Plant Tug of War burned a hole in my fucking hand. But it was so bad, Nintendo announced you could mail in a proof of purchase or whatever, or just write a letter and it's $5 shipping or whatever. They sent you an official leather Mario Party glove, with reinforced palm. It's like a weightlifting glove, and you could spin the shit out of it. I had an ADD when I was 10, so I didn't send away and get it, but it was ridiculous.
You wanted to get it, never got it. Red Enigma, thanks for that.
It was like the real power glove.
Knucklehead Gaming News and Music says, favorite current gen Xbox One Elite, favorite retro, Dreamcast, the ability to load cartridges right in the controller, fucking baller. He says.
My thunder.
Never had the Dreamcast.
Didn't certain games like use the screen on the memory pack as like mini games and stuff?
Yes,
you know, I will say the Xbox Elite controller, like, he's right. Like, you know, that might be my new favorite controller, too.
I think I'm going to buy one. I kind of want to get the stupid $300 one. I'm like, leather. Like, I like the leather.
Jesus.
My hands get so fucking
Jesus Christ, you fucking baller.
I'll tell you. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if it's worth it, but my hands get so goddamn, like, clammy when I'm playing.
Yeah. But you can get a skin wrap that you put over it instead of spending $300.
Yeah, but it's like orange and, you know, leather, and it's just easier. I don't know. You're right. Maybe there's probably somebody that sells like custom leather wraps for controllers and shit.
Better get the insurance if you get it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, all right.
Better get it. Thank you, Knucklehead Gaming News and Music. Dreamcast kind of had that little button too, kind of like the N64. That little thumb toggle. That had a nasty one too. Not that anybody burned anything out playing that thing, but you know. So Leah, what's maybe your second favorite? Now the first one was keyboard and mouse.
PlayStation 2, it said.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Himmel God.
Yeah.
It would have been GameCube.
What's that?
I said it would have been GameCube, but D-Moon took it.
Oh, well, you didn't. You don't have to not say it because D-Moon.
I know, but I wanted to bring up something different.
Well, okay. Well, we'll talk about everything. Don't worry. I mean, we'll get to it. No, we'll get to everything. I'm just quickly. This was supposed to be a quick thing, like, hey, what is yours? Okay, now we know what everybody's deal is. Now let's talk about it. But this is fine. This is working fine, just like this is fine.
I want to fight now.
Yeah. What is this? Movie fights. Movie fights was great up until they got all SJW and that guy touched every intern in the place.
Well, keep in mind, you mean until he stopped touching everybody, because all the episodes you enjoyed were while he was touching people.
I don't know what it was, but something, I don't know what was going on, but him trying to strong arm all the women interns in the back that made the shows great. I don't know what it was, but now that he's not allowed to, now that he's fired and like they keep hiring, you know, women over there because they're afraid of whatever, it's gotten horrible. That show is terrible.
I still like a lot of the main stuff. I still watch it almost every day, the main stuff.
I mean...
some of the shit is just hilarious. Big Joe Star fan, gotta say.
I don't know. I can't deal with it. I stopped watching, man. But, hey, we got the announcer from over there. Anyway, I'm sorry. Himmelgod, go ahead.
Yeah. My number one controller actually is the Xbox 360.
There it is.
The best part is that it's just so comfortable in your hand when you're sitting there and you're playing first-person shooters and, like, playing a game like Halo or shit like that. And I love the way the analog sticks are set up, you know, compared to, say, with the PlayStation, where they're kind of just, you know, parallel to each other. And this one, you got one slightly higher, and then on the right, it's, you know, in the regular position. Yeah. So for me, I just got comfortable with that, playing first-person shooters, and that was, like, you know, my jam when I'm sitting there playing on fucking Xbox. But because we used to have, like, a meetup group, and we just played first-person shooters, and I kind of got used to it, which came to my second favorite, which ended up being the Dreamcast. And the Dreamcast started getting me into shooters where I had I would play Unreal Tournament and Quake over on Dreamcast. And that's how I started getting used to control. So when I got to eventually to the Xbox controller, it just felt like I was right at home. So for me, I'm more of a shooter guy. So the Xbox 360 worked out for shooter games compared to like now where I'm playing on a PS4 controller.
Well, it really
like Call of Duty and shit.
It really makes a difference, Himmelfarb. You know, it's the Himmelgod. It makes a difference. Like, I'm gonna call you Himmelgod. No, Brian.
Don't you blaspheme in here?
It's so weird, dude, because it's true. Because I used to love third person on PlayStation. PlayStation was my. I loved PlayStation controller during Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3, and Twisted Metal.
Yeah, definitely.
But now, like, I hate shooters and I hate sports games on the PlayStation. I can't stand that controller for sports games because the thumbsticks just don't feel right down there. Like, I want I'd rather them above.
It's sometimes when you have them right there, like right next to each other, and then boom, it's like I'll converge into it once in a while. And it happened to me a few times. I'll play Call of Duty Black Ops 3 on my PS4, and it happens a few times when I'm playing. But for some reason, I do well on PS4 Call of Duty using that controller compared to, say, on the 360. Whereas on the 360, I'm just playing fucking Halo or Doom or whatever, and I'm more used to it with those. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of a weird complex or what, but
I actually bought. It's broken now because I broke it the night I should have done this because it was $80, but the night Scott I freaked out. I actually had a Xbox type converter for PlayStation so I could play PlayStation. That's how bad it is. For me,
they got a new controller coming up now, like Scuff controller, which is like their Elite controller type.
Yeah.
And on PS4, it has the setup like the Xbox. So.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. See, I love that. That's the big. That can be a crusher, man. I mean, look at the N64. But what?
Exactly.
So we got everybody. So I mean, so far except for Troy, we got D Moon said GameCube. Leah said keyboard, mouse. I said 360. You said 360.
Yep.
I would also say that Elite. Maybe I would make Elite my second favorite now because I just love that thing. But and then Himmelgod said 360. Yeah. So Troy, what's your favorite controller? This video and podcast is made possible because of Patreon. You can hear more of these episodes in audio form and download several other ones on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, my official Patreon page, where you can hear the gaming podcasts, the Corrupted podcast every week, and podcasts that we do about everything else. Without patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, we wouldn't be able to do these videos. So think about becoming a patron because YouTube's censoring videos, not sending them out to you, not alerting you about them, and also taking away the ad revenue. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You can see it by going to the website on your computer, tablet, or downloading the app on your phone.
Number one's GameCube. And
so there you go.
There's something unique about the GameCube controller, is that it's the big A button. The A button being the main focus.
Yeah.
Let's face it, there's one main button on all controllers anyway. But the fact that it's bigger than everything else, you can so easily roll into every single button. You can hit A and Y, A and X, and A and B all at the same time easily. You can roll in between them. And that
the buttons themselves just feel good. Like,
exactly. They all had the
size of and the way they push down and stuff.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting because it had the Z trigger. It had the Z as basically R1 now, or what would be like bumper. Didn't have it on the left side, but that was interesting enough to have next to have the Z there anyway. But that big A button, and it actually, same thing, it has the two joysticks. I mean, the right is the C stick, which, now that I think about it, was really underutilized. I can't think of any GameCube games where you would use the GameCube controller like a modern shooter now, like using the C stick to strafe and turn like we do in like anything else. So that was kind of underutilized, but GameCube was definitely a favorite, and it was contoured well. It fit my hands. Like, it actually like just fit right, felt right. Every single button was easy to press without having to awkwardly contort. And I think that's the theme, what makes it good for me. And my hands are always just big and awkward. Second favorite is Xbox One. I don't know why you guys like Xbox 360 to me, same thing. It was too small. Like, for me to hit the bumper and a trigger at the same time, or just have them positioned, is too awkward. I got to do like a crab position. It's just almost too contoured. It's too little, too curled up. The Xbox One is just wider. It's just flatter. It's more open. So it just fits my hand a whole lot better. I can really get a good curve on it. So it's just comfortable. The PlayStation was always
a lot better on the Xbox One controller too.
Oh yeah, the sensitivity.
I couldn't give it. The only reason I wouldn't say Xbox One is because like they just break. Like, that's why I say Elite. I would say like I love the Elite controller. I literally hate the Xbox One controller.
That's Xbox One. That's just a specialized one. That's like saying my favorite GameCube controller is the Wavebird. Because it was wireless.
Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah.
But that's the thing, is the quality.
I broke like 3 of those fucking things.
Yeah, me too.
But the only GameCube controller I ever broke, though.
But the quality of the Xbox One controller is so bad that like I can't possibly put it on there because it's so bad. Like, it breaks. Like, you know, at least 20% of gamers report that it breaks in their hands. Like, I mean, they've
worn down. Yeah, but I had the one that snapped, and 2 have probably worn down in the 4 years I've had it now, which is
I'll break it in a week. Every time, it's guaranteed. If I play NHL, it's broken in a week.
Do you think if you didn't play NHL, it would break?
Yeah, as long as I didn't play NHL or like Madden or something, sports games.
Because NHL, you're always torquing, whether it's on the face-offs or like taking a snipe, dangling. You're jamming that thing to the stick to the plastic every single time.
And you
put a lot of torque on them.
People
like
criticize,
to accelerate, like to deke.
Well, people criticized my video criticizing the controller. They were like, "Oh, you know, you're an idiot or something." And I'm like, "No, because no controller in my life ever has broken because of me using it. Like, so there's something wrong with this controller." but the Elite is made differently. Like they use, I don't know what it is, some kind of like graphite plastic or something. Like it's different and it doesn't break. It doesn't, no matter how much I'm torquing it, it doesn't break. So it's like, okay, the Elite is it's almost like they knew that or something. It's really weird. ADTR, what's up, ADTR? You dropped a $2 super chat. You guys can super chat your favorite controllers if you'd like, and we'll read it on the air here and during the podcast. SS Tricky says best snowboarder game ever. I'm sorry. ADTR says SX Tricky is the best snowboarder game for PS2 I love that.
I remember that game.
All time, I gotta say, 1080 Avalanche.
I never
back to 360. The one in GameCube was pretty good too.
Yeah, the GameCube is the one that I played.
I never got to play that.
Series Wave Race.
I played SS Tricky, but I never got to play what you just said, the Avalanche one.
Yeah, it was Nintendo.
No, I haven't played
that. I just liked on SS Tricky, like wasn't that like it was kind of like Tony Hawk in a way, like right? You could do all kinds of weird stuff and get crazy points for it. And it felt like, one day you were going to hit some kind of like mega, like, move or whatever. And you were going to like, this is going to give you all kinds of points. Like, whoa, you see what I just did? Yeah, that was a pretty good game. I didn't play it a lot, but played it enough to enjoy that. I'm sure it was a good game.
You want to talk Tony Hawk? I'll talk Tony Hawk for 3 hours.
Well,
there's a part 1 of a part 6 special. 18 hours on Hawk.
Well, we can do that.
Troy on Hawk.
We can do that. I mean, I was one night, what I was thinking is we get, a couple of cameras. We sit you on the left, me on the right. We play it a little bit. We talk about it. Well, there's all kinds of things we can do with this game. Let me
tell you, Cronin. Phoenix Downhill Jam. What a bitch of a level. Bitchin', but a bitch.
Well, didn't they remade it though, right? We can download the remade version.
Just not the same.
It isn't because it's like Halo, the remake of Halo. The physics got better.
The frame rate just makes it feel weirder. Yeah.
Yeah, but the old frame rate is what made it awesome because you could do crazy shit that you probably shouldn't be able to do.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's people don't understand that's what's really fun. I think that's why PUBG is so fun, and we'll get into that later. But what is everybody's worst controller? I'll just say that mine's probably is the N64 or maybe the PlayStation. At this point,
I gotta say the original PlayStation as well. I mean, I enjoyed the console, but yeah, that controller was pissing me off so mad.
See, I like the original PlayStation. It was only they're all the same almost, right? I mean, like they really are.
They're exactly the same.
They're all the same.
PlayStation 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Well, the first one was also a lot lighter. It felt like cheapy plastic,
hollow, yeah.
Like
I didn't have the probably wasn't Rumble originally, right?
Yeah, the DualShock.
Yeah, there was.
Dude, the N64 when that came out, I was like, dude, is this a weapon? Like, am I supposed to like? Who came up with this pitchfork design? Like,
when I asked my brother, I told him we were doing this podcast or whatever. He immediately was like, "Yeah, N64 is the worst piece of shit ever."
Yeah.
He's like, it's so off kilter, it's so awkward. Like there's like nowhere to it's like you're off center because there's 3 places to put your hand. You're like, what the fuck?
It was very weird design. It's if I really think about it, I would say actually, I agree with you. The N64 really sucked for a controller, but I mean, I got used to it eventually when I played like Zelda or whatever. But
it's true. Yeah,
that's the argument I made with him was. You get used to it and you figure out which hand's positions work for you for what game.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's weird like that because in a way, like it is memorable. I remember we used to play wrestling games on it and like I had no problem, But when I
love fucking
No Mercy.
No Mercy.
Yeah.
No Mercy was the shit.
No Mercy, and then there was like NWO.
Yeah, WCW Revenge or something.
Yeah.
Dude, that was great.
That game was awesome.
Attitude for N64 was the my best. I got one. I think what was it WrestleMania like 33 or something for GameCube. That was all right, but Attitude was the best original one. Or even fucking the one for Super Nintendo. Y'all remember I don't even remember what it was called, but with like Doink and Bam Bam Bigelow, the 2D one. Wasn't that even in
WrestleMania, the arcade game?
Yeah, okay, it was. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Kelvin says Kelvin just hit us with a super chat. He says the Wii controller is the worst ever made.
I didn't hate the Wii controller.
It is weird.
I didn't hate
though.
it either.
It is a risky thing. So you could see how many people could hate that if their hands don't work right with it because it's a weird controller. But
because I mean, like you didn't really with a lot of games you didn't really actually need to do like the motions of stuff.
Was he talking about the nunchuck and flipping it and having to use it, or is he talking about the actual
didn't
controller?
Make Twilight Princess too much better.
Yeah, like
I mean, like it's like you could technically hold it and shoot a bow. I never did that.
It was kind of like a bigger version of the Super Nintendo controller, really.
Probably one of my favorite games of all time, though, specifically because it was on Wii. It's Resident Evil 4. Being able to just actually finally do headshots in Resident Evil. Oh my god, it was so good.
Oh man,
and plus you got all the DLC. I remember it came out. It was Resident Evil 4 was a GameCube exclusive. That was fucking badass. And then PlayStation 2 got it with exclusive DLC. It was like fuck. And then it came out on Wii, and it was like, oh my god, this is the best game ever. Just pure headshots. Just fucking like the Umbrella Chronicles like rail shooter. Resident Evil, despite how shitty 6 was, still might be my favorite series of all time.
Steven German did a $5 super chat. What's up, Steven? Thank you, man. He's been
negative 5 points for Joe.
He's not attacking me this time.
He's starting already.
Yeah, he's going after us already. This one he didn't attack me somehow. He said Wii controller is the best controller. I'm aching from that baseball game I went to. I don't know what that. I don't get that part of it.
I don't know what the fuck that's random.
No idea.
Of course.
Where was the bat? And whose fault were you playing with?
He was playing on the Wii, Troy. Come on.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, though, the Wii, you know what the problem with the Wii was? Not just the controller specifically, but the problem with the Wii was the best game that ever came out for it was the first game that ever came out for it. There was never better usage of that controller than Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Wii Sports.
Fucking the golf, tennis, even the bowling was pretty good on it.
I don't know if you heard this, Troy, but we went over last week on the show, the pilot episode. Even though this is episode 1, we sort of did a pilot episode. We talked about PUBG.
Pilot.
Yeah, I'm going to use that word pilot. Yeah, I thought it was good, so we kept doing it. Although Jake isn't here tonight, so that's kind of funny because I think he's supposed to be the mainstay. I think he forgot or passed out.
You never keep the same cast from the pilot. I replaced Jake. I'm the younger, slimmer, more popular version. It's perfect. It's a perfect move. You made the best move you've ever made as producer.
We went over the top 10 most selling games of all time. PUBG's number 5, by the way.
I did hear that, yeah.
Okay.
No surprise. I could have told you number 1, if you want me to spoil it, is the best mobile game of all time, Tetris.
Tetris was number 1, but Wii Sports was on there.
Because it was packaged with the console, and it's one of the best selling consoles.
Right.
Does that really count as a sale, though? Like, when you really think about it?
Yes, it does.
That's crazy. That is
no,
not right.
when you think about it, but for paper it does.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It worked.
I'm trying to pull it up
Switch,
again.
they didn't package a fucking game with it. That would have been nice.
Well, I think they did, didn't they? Didn't they package some? Well, I don't know.
No, they didn't. I would have thought they would have put that 1-2 Switch game in there, but they didn't. They wanted to sell it for, $50-$60. And still barely anyone bought it.
The real shocker is the fact that PUBG was able to be on there. To me, to me that kind of blows my mind. I look at the top 20 here, and in the top 10, 8 of them are Nintendo. Then there's Spectrum, Hollow Byte, which is Tetris, and Mojang, Rockstar Games. But then there's like Nintendo, Bethesda, Nintendo, and PUBG in there at 5.
You know what I'm honestly surprised about that list is that during the time where like shooters really started getting popular, I'm surprised Call of Duty Modern Warfare isn't on there.
You know why that is?
Yeah.
Here's my theory on this. I said this last week too, and Halo's not even on there either. They're not even in the top 30. I think that's because when Halo was at the top of its game, it was 2001 to 2007. So many less amounts of gamers at that point on console playing those games.
That's true.
I would feel the guess that there are no shooters on the list. It's just not a wide enough audience.
Well,
right?
No, Call of Duty's in 16, right? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, number 16 is Modern Warfare 3.
Well, that was in the top 10, right? When we were just talking top 10?
26
top
million.
10. Yeah, but I mean, like, it's still kind of close.
Yeah,
I
it
guess.
still makes it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not none of the rated M games. Well,
but
I guess
see,
GTA, but
Call of Duty
shooters just not enough wide enough audience.
Halo hit its peak at Halo 3. Like when Halo 2 was out, everyone on Xbox was playing Halo 2. And
no, damn right.
Right. And anybody who missed Halo 2, there was a lot of people that missed Halo 2 somehow, but there was a lot of people that missed Halo 1, but there was still a lot of people that missed Halo 2. And when Halo 3 came out, everybody finally jumped on board. If you missed Halo 2, you said, I'm not missing Halo 3. I'm in. So that was a first for a lot of new people.
That's when I happened to get my 360. Was like, I think a few months after Halo 3 came out.
Right,
Halo. To get it at that time.
See, Halo 3 was like the third Korn album, or like, you know, think of a band where they come out with like one CD and people follow them, but then their second CD really gets them credit. But then when their third CD comes out, it's like their sellout CD, and they're on MTV and they're everywhere. And you know, by then everyone jumps on, and then by the fourth one they start going down, and that's what happened to Halo. But as that happened, Call of Duty came out, and that already Halo 3 got everyone into shooters, and then Call of Duty became the new thing, and that's why that's on there and Halo isn't on there, because that's when shit blew up after Halo. Because of Halo, things blew up, just like, you know, PUBG and H1Z1 kind of started the Battle Royale stuff. Yeah. And Fortnite then came out, and Fortnite's like the Call of Duty versus the Halo of this, but all happening within a year instead of, you know, 6 years or whatever that was.
Because I remember that the same year that Halo 3 was released, Call of Duty 4 was released that same year. And I'm sitting there playing Halo, but all everyone would ever talk about is like Call of Duty. And eventually I got around to it when it was on sale during Christmas time, and I picked it up, and I was like, holy shit, this game is good. So
I used to hate it.
I got hooked.
I hated it because it broke all my friends up, like, from playing what I was, we always had these things, and they were like, no, we're playing Call of Duty, and I went on to Call of Duty, and I was like, this is like a computer shooter. You know, I don't want to, like, this isn't like Halo, like, this is like a shooter on the computer.
I'm not good at this.
That too, I'm not good at this as well. Like, I was like, screw this game. But
and then the only other game, like a lot of us, we would play, because when I had my group down in South Florida, eventually we would play a lot of Rainbow Six.
Yeah, right.
It was like between Halo, fucking Gears at that time, and then you had Call of Duty and fucking Rainbow Six. It's like, no, we're just playing Rainbow Six. So.
Leah, do you remember Rainbow Six when me and you played that? It was like one of the first.
Yeah, didn't we like glitch it out?
Yeah,
we got like really far, and then there was like we couldn't get further.
Me and Leah, we played. I think it was Vegas 2 or one of the Vegas Rainbow Six Vegas. It was, if you go back and play it now, it's weird looking.
It's like you were in like a mall or a bank or something like that.
Casino or something. It was weird.
Yeah, or a casino, and like there was something.
I think you go through all of those at some point.
Yeah, it is Vegas.
Yeah,
it is Rainbow Six Vegas. So all that is definitely.
That's cool. Yeah, it was one of those.
But there was one point where it was like we could there. I think it was like the cutscenes or something, or there was like something didn't happen. It wouldn't trigger.
Yeah, we were sitting on the screen, and it was like
that guy 3 miles back.
No, you were just loading.
To kill Phil to advance.
Yeah, we stopped because of that. It was the first thing we really. I think it was one of the first things me and you ever played together, because it might have been 2008, and I think, when did Rainbow Six Vegas come out? 2006.
I think so. It was 2006.
So it might have been, so it was like 2 years later. Me and Leah were playing that, and it was really, we had a fun time though. But if you go back and play it, it's kind of like very pixelated looking, more than you remember. It's weird because you're like, wow,
it is.
It's like 007. If you go back and play GoldenEye, you're like, what the hell? You know,
shit.
It was.
I was thinking back then, no, but the game was great.
It was.
Vegas 2 and Halo 3 were both, I want to say 2008, because that's when I got it. Those were the first 2 games I got. And to date, Rainbow Six Vegas 2 is still probably the game I was best at, man. It's like I played it too much. There was a point where a certain level was like, all right, let me throw the 2 grenades up this hallway. Oh yeah, 4 kills. Okay, good start to the game. All right, where are we going?
That game, I don't know why that game. See, that was like the PUBG of 2006. Like that game was. I don't know, man. It's another one of those games.
Like being able to just have your fucking pistol just pushed up against the wall, looking down the hall, waiting for somebody, popping in and out of walls and shit. Oh, I fucking love it. I should try to play Siege more. Like I have it, but I just barely ever play it.
It was amazing that game was so fun with 2 players versus computers, like, because it's so weird. It was really fun. Like, I don't know. It's another game where anything can happen, kind of, because like you said, the glitches are fun. Not when the game breaks because of it. And because our game was ruined, I believe, because of it somehow. or whatever. I don't remember how the saves worked. Maybe it wasn't ruined, or maybe we just did so much and then it got ruined, so we were like, oh, we're not doing that again. All right, well, game over. You know, that happened to me in Tomb Raider too. The like Tomb Raider 5 or like it's like the remake of 1 and 2 mixed, or I forget what it was called, but that game glitched for me and broke I never went back to that game either. I think I was fighting the bear or something, and the arrows, and like something I got stuck, and like it wouldn't let me leave or go out or get anywhere, and even when I went back in the game I was there again. It was very weird, and it broke it. I was like, all right, never playing this again. I think at the time they had a MySpace or a Facebook, and I was messaging like I was hitting them up like crazy. I was like, your goddamn game is broken. I was really mad. But yeah, anything we didn't cover as far as controllers, I mean, that anybody wanted to talk about? I mean, like I think we did cover it. You know, I think it's I think we got the controller part of this thing.
Fuck Mad Cats.
Oh yeah, fuck Mad Cats. I hated that shit, dude.
Oh, dude.
PlayStation controllers with Mad Cats blisters for days. I fucking hated it.
You get like a skin irritation from the cheap plastic the place put it together with.
They were always tiny. I need comfortable controllers. That's my #1 factor, and they don't fit. It was a large boy.
How much longer? Hey, let's talk quickly about the Xbox original controller, because you know Leah has said many times
that would be my I hate this controller.
I'm
really.
She didn't buy it. She said it a million times. She didn't buy an Xbox because of it. It's too big for you.
I remember that controller, but the problem for me was that thing was so fucking big.
That's my problem.
Yeah, and it was just something that didn't feel very comfortable for me. I mean, I dealt with it playing Halo, but then when they made a smaller version, I jumped to that like right away, and it just felt so much better sitting there playing games. So it's like, fuck, man. That big ass controller might be nice, but
I had the money. I was going to the store to get it because I was like interested in a lot of the games that were coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
And as I was like waiting for somebody to be available to talk to, I'm sitting there like playing it on. Remember the setups they had in Walmart?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm holding the controller, and I was like, I just fucking hate this. I was like, I can't play it. It's so the thing was so gigantic and heavy and awkward that I ended up just being like, you know what? I'm just not gonna.
The sales display lost a sale.
Yeah. It did.
I never owned an Xbox, the original one, but I remember going over to my friend's house all the time to play it. And I mean, like, I've always had big hands growing up, so I mean, I guess it didn't really bother me. But it's just, I don't know. All right, I guess. Sure, you can have that, Troy. You can have that, Troy. I'll give you that, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it always felt comfortable for me, but it's just like back then, I don't know. I guess I just wasn't into shooters, so like it never really appealed to me. This is why I probably never picked it up. But I don't know. I never had a problem with the original Xbox controller. It was pretty cool.
Well, okay, so for let me get through Steven German's super chats, and I'll tell you about about Xbox One controller, or original Xbox for me. My hands, my beautiful hands. Joe, why you make me do it, bro? I don't know. Why did I make you do it, Steven?
Do what?
I don't know. That's a very scary tweet or super chat. But thank you for it. And then he wrote, "I'll chop yo cock, bro."
The fuck?
All right.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Very disturbing.
Steven's gonna kill me.
You or Joe Cronin's cock must win or something.
Oh, maybe that's what he's talking about. That guy. Maybe it's not me. But then Steven says,
"No, he probably means he's chop your cock." I think that's what he was going for.
Maybe.
Dance Dance Revolution, my best game. EA Slapshot was the best. Beat people. Steven, I can't imagine him playing Dance Dance Revolution.
I was just gonna say that right now.
I can. It's hilarious.
You should put that on a rant line.
Just him at an arcade playing DDR.
Yeah.
Steven, thank you for the $5.
Maybe Steven started playing with that game Res and had the trans vibrator controller.
Oh my god! Wait till they come out with that double dildo controller. But no, so when they, so when I pulled the Xbox controller out of the package, and I mean I pulled it out. I've told the story plenty of times. I snuck home.
Don't forget to clip that. Somebody time mark that.
Yeah, go ahead. Now that there's I think a year later. I don't know how long it took Xbox to remake the controller. Maybe a year, 6 months. I don't remember how long. It was pretty quick though. pretty quickly they were like, uh-oh, and they made a new controller, like, very fast. So on the left is the new version, which is more like the one we know today, and on the right is the original big fat one. Now, I actually get really nostalgic when I look at this thing. It is.
You like the big fat one?
Yeah, the big fat one. My big fat hands. But no, when I pulled it out and when I first grabbed it, I went, oh my Christ, is this thing huge? Like, what are they doing? This controller is enormous. Like, and I was like, what is this? And I don't have long fingers, so I'm like, am I going to fit around this thing?
But I do have long fingers. I have small hands, but like long fingers, and it still didn't work.
Well, I got over it like pretty quickly. You know, I got used to it pretty quickly, but it was like, you know, initially it was kind of like, wow, like this is crazy. You know, you put the memory card on the top of it. But it was great. And you know, this controller, when I see it, I can smell the smells of, I'm not kidding, of the console when I pulled it out of the box, and the smell of the plastic, the look of the Halo, like pulling out the Halo game, like everything. I loved this thing. And when they made the new controller, I was thankful and I liked it. But there's something about this controller. I still once in a while would love to plug in the original Xbox, go get this controller and hook it up. And, you know, it still feels kind of new to me because, like, you know, it still feels like retro, and what I grew up with was Nintendo and even PlayStation and Sega Genesis and Sega.
Right.
You know, that still feels like the old school to me, but, you know, the Xbox, I still have this major nostalgia with this thing. The knobs kind of had a rounded off thing too. It's hard to see, but the knobs didn't kind of face upward a little bit. They faced downward like an umbrella.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was also kind of different. And sometimes that would dig a little bit in your thumb, the middle of your thumb. There'd be like a pushing point. You'd have a little soreness from, especially when I played Halo. But certainly not as bad as N64 or anything else. But it's hard to go back to it after you'd played with because on the when they remade the controller, on the old one, the white and black buttons were buttons you use for option buttons, like to switch grenades and Halo and stuff like that.
Correct.
So like these buttons being down here, as opposed to way at the top on the other one, that was the first thing that was like difficult. It was like, whoa, these are like, this is the reverse of what the controller used to be.
Well, black and white was pretty much like start and select, right? That didn't have.
No, it had start and select. So
no, it had to start and select.
In fact, that was weirder too. On the original one, you can see they're in the middle, like most controllers in the middle. But on the new one, they were on the left and right below the left thumbstick.
Were they still the cheeseburger button and cheese slice button back then?
Yeah, you know, you can take the white and black button as the you know, where the left bumper, right bumper are now.
Right.
Like those were the buttons for that.
That's how it was back in the old day, and I remember how to sit there and select them, especially when I was playing. Was it that anniversary edition over there, the Master Chief Collection?
Yeah.
So trying to get used to all that shit, and I'm like, man, where's the black and white button?
Seriously, the Duke looks like the good controller got stung by a swarm of bees. It's just like swollen like 3 times the size. Like,
the Duke.
I just saw one recently over at the GameStop over here, not too far from me, and they had them, and I just looking at it going, yeah, I don't even want to go back to this shit. So,
Brian, do you want to be really
as nostalgic as it is? I just don't want anything to do with it.
You want to be really enraged? There was a there's a Mad Catz version of the big one. Like, I have it. It's upstairs because at some point my mother, I said I needed another controller, and she bought me, like, you know, for birthday or Christmas or something. She bought me the Mad Catz version of the big one, which was even worse.
That's like caffeine-free Diet Pepsi. Like, I think I'd rather nothing. Thank you.
Now, I got to tell you, I have it. I have it upstairs somewhere, and I don't know where it is. If I had it, I'd show it to you. It's very similar
Probably buried in the closet.
If you remove the middle button, the middle staff from the N64, like it just had the left and rights, and then made it Xbox, that's what it looked like. It was very huge. But then they also made an alternate small version. Take a look at this one. I don't know if anybody had this, but I have 2 of these. I don't know if I still have them, but I have 1 or 2. Trick Xbox controller. I don't know if I can... Did I put my screen on? No, I'll put it on for you now. It's on Skype now. That thing... That
oh
thing...
my god, it's so ugly.
It was great, though.
That looks terrible, but...
Look at that fucking thing.
I loved it.
How could anybody play that? Look at how spaced out everything is.
Yeah, the control pad is like a yard away from the buttons.
Even the buttons are gigantically spaced.
Yeah.
First thing I think of is like, look, I'm looking at freaking Sam Fisher from fucking Splinter Cell with this damn thing.
I actually had that, man. I'm telling you, like I actually had that. There was one other one too. It was a Mad Cat, so you might recognize this one. This is another one that I had. Which I like this one, but it was a mini one, you know. It was a little too small. But
it's not that bad.
This one was all right. That was definitely one that was pretty good.
That resembles more the modern shape.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a human hand is meant to grasp that.
I wish I could find the big Mad Catz one for you. I'm looking at images right now, and I just can't find it, but it is nasty. It is wider than the fat original one. Like it's wider, so it's left and right. It's wider, and then the bottom sticks down more, like sticks out sharply. It is so awkward and light. Like it is really weird. It is. I don't know, man. It's bizarre. I'm still looking. I can't find it. That green one that we just looked at was very reminiscent of Dreamcast, though.
Yes. Yeah, it did.
It really did. It looked like Dreamcast. The way it's
designed, it's like, what the fuck is that?
Did any of you guys have the original? Like, we didn't talk about Sega CD a lot or anything like that, but did you have that original Nintendo, the big one, like the God controller, like the Advantage one, the big kind of like the arcade?
Oh, the NES Advantage.
Yes,
it's like with little.
Oh, I had the Super Nintendo one. Yeah, with the turbo.
It's like a fight stick kind of.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, that thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I had that and the 5-way adapter, so you could play like fucking Track and Field and Bomberman with a bunch of people.
I feel like a lot of it was like you felt like you were at the arcade. Like that's part of it. You know, it was like, why are we doing this though? You know, but you wanted to feel like you're at the arcade.
You get a lot of people that make those fancy arcade stick shit.
Yeah.
That you see for a lot of the fighting games, and it's like. You got
my roommate has
together to use it.
My roommate's a big Super Nintendo guy. He's got like the $300 one he imported from Japan when Street Fighter 4 came out. Let me go see if I can find it.
Yeah. He's gonna go get it. I mean, I don't know. Fight sticks were too specific to fighting games, so I mean, I don't know if you would consider that a controller, but yeah.
The only thing that drove me nuts was back in the Genesis days, where like Mortal Kombat would be out, and then they had Street Fighter, but your controller was only 3 buttons. And I had to go buy the 6-button controller.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. I had that controller too.
Yeah. That's
yeah. It was like
crazy.
the XYZ on top of ABC, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember it always said, "Oh shit, I got to go get one of those because I'm not going to be able to play it with a fucking 3-button controller, dude."
There were some variations of the Nintendo GameCube too that I forgot about as I'm looking at them, and you know, I don't know why you would ever do that, because that original one just feels so amazing. That why would you? You know, like the one that looks like the PlayStation, they kind of tried to look like the PlayStation. Like they should have never needed to do that, because that original one just fits in your hand amazingly.
Right.
Well, actually, that was something they did. There was a positive for the Wii when they came out with what do they call it, the Pro controller that looks more like an Xbox or whatever, so you can play GoldenEye and shit. Oh, it came with GoldenEye. I actually have the golden one.
Yeah.
Wow. What about Sega Saturn?
The Switch right now is a Pro controller. I have that one. I use it to mostly play all my games on the Switch.
So, yeah, it's almost the same as the Pro controller, right? Or does it look a little bit different?
Right.
Have you guys seen the future? This is part of the future, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen these. Well, they're out, I believe.
I think they're out.
Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
just, if I'm bringing the controller somewhere, no, I should be at home.
Yeah, but seriously, this is amazing. Like, if your kids are on a trip and all the kids have phones now, I mean, you just You pick it up.
Fuck them. They can use their thumbs.
But no, I mean, like, see, because this is a okay. So like with me, this is a game breaker for me. Like, I don't play phone games almost ever unless it's a game that specifically calls for scrolling. Like bowling, love it. Right?
Oh, you love that game where you toss the thing in the trash can.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
Oh my god, that is my favorites of all time. Hell yeah, when you're just flicking the paper. Yeah,
swiping games, love it. Playing PUBG on my phone, hate it.
Wait, you'd like Pokemon Go then? Because you do that with the Pokeballs.
Yeah, I enjoy Pokemon. I like Pokemon. I just don't have time to walk around and possibly get raped by somebody. I just don't have that. I don't have that time.
I don't think you have to worry about.
Yeah, well, you haven't smelled my ass. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. My God.
No, he's not kidding. I have not smelled his ass. He is 100% correct. I want to clarify. He's not kidding.
Well, thank you, Steven German, for all the super chats, guys. If you guys want to super chat about your favorite controller, let us know. I'll be keeping an eye on the super chat. But we're gonna bring this in. But real quick, what I want to say is, I like my weapon. I choose my weapon based on like depending the game. Like Diablo 3. Me and D-Moon were playing Diablo 3 earlier. Absolutely have to have a mouse and keyboard. I cannot play Diablo on an Xbox or PlayStation. It pisses me off, actually. But on PC, it's an absolute click game for me. Must use keyboard. But if I'm playing Call of Duty or PUBG, I can't stand a mouse and keyboard. I just can't stand it. So it's like...
I'm actually the opposite to that, because going back to what Leah was saying, I think ever since getting a PC, it's like shooters have to be mouse and keyboard. Like, it's just so much better for me.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
See, I'm just more of a controller guy. I mean, I tried doing it on mouse and keyboard, but it's like, I don't know. I'm just too used to controllers at this point, and I just go with that and just change up the sensitivity. And I understand, like what Leah was saying, one setting too high or one setting too low. It's
yeah. I almost wish because the games I've encountered, like I almost wish there was sort of like instead of like numbers on a lot of them, like there was like a little bar that you kind of like move to the left and right, because then maybe I could find one that would be like, well, that would work better for me.
Bobby would always say that. He would always be like, 10 isn't enough.
It goes up to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they go up to 15, exactly.
Yeah, why not make it absurd? You have the power to do it. Why not make it just absurd, or
go to 100. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much harder is that to program? I don't know, but I assume not.
Me too. I feel like if you flick the stick just slightly, it spins you all the way completely around. Like he would. I mean, there you go, Bob.
I'm like so weird about the sensitivity that even my mouse has sensitivity settings, and I use different. And like I have to, I can click a button to change it. And I change it depending on the game I'm playing.
Well,
same here.
Well, I'm pissed off about that too, because that has a cap on a PC, and my mouse sensitivity as far as scrolling is maxed out, and I want like 2 more levels up.
There's the mouse sensitivity, but then in game I also have my game's sensitivity adjusted. Right. So,
it makes a difference.
It actually, when I got this mouse, it actually fucked up playing The Witcher 3 for a long time, because the what is it called? DPI.
DPI,
The DPI on the mouse was it wasn't compatible with the settings I had with what was in The Witcher 3, because it was making it so like when I scrolled to the side or looked around, it was jittery. So I had to like end up doing like all these different setting changes or whatever. I ended up getting it working, but yeah, I don't know. Like it's like weird. So I'm weird with sensitivity for the mouse and stuff like that. But so it's like when it comes to controllers and games like that, there just tends to not be one that will work for me.
Okay, I don't know what this means, but Steven German just said Cronin is afraid of exercising his wallet. Does anybody know what that means? I don't. What the hell does money? I mean, I guess he's saying I'm afraid of using money. Right? Like what?
Why?
I mean, I am a little bit. I'm like really stingy right now because I'm trying to get the house, and you know what I mean. I live off of my shows, but I don't know what that means.
It's bad enough that you can't actually understand him, but now he's actually texting, and it's even worse.
Yeah. So now my life is really confused. Okay, well,
and all caps.
We could totally do in all caps. Like what? Like Cronin is afraid to exercise. Like I don't know.
He
probably stop yelling at me, damn it.
He probably uses speech to text, and the fucking Dragonfly is just like, fuck it, I'm just typing exactly whatever the fuck he's saying. You people are dead.
Oh man, we had a good episode last week. If you guys missed it, definitely listen to that. It was mostly about PUBG. I'm trying to create a PUBG only stream or podcast, so that may be what that is. That's why I called it a pilot. For FYI, I didn't call it a pilot to be like, we're having a pilot because we're like TV and shit. Huh? No, it was just I didn't pull a Justin Bailey and create an overly hyped name, and fire the production staff or whatever. I'm just kidding. I love Bailey. Steven German now says you're afraid of what your wallet looks like in real life.
What the fuck?
What in the world?
It's the one that says "bad motherfucker" on it.
He's gonna keep like super chatting you till he gets his point across.
Is that Pulp Fiction?
We'll be here all night.
Pulp Fiction.
Okay, I thought so. I mean, I've only seen the movie about 1 million times, so.
Which one's your wallet? One that says "badass motherfucker" on it.
I love that, man. I might watch that now. Steven, thank you, man. Thank you, Steven. Anyway, I don't know what you're saying, man, but you're out of your mind. I love you, Steven, though. Thanks for the super chat. Okay.
Steven German Andy Kaufman in disguise.
Oh, shit.
It's a possibility, man.
After the cancer.
He is the cancer.
Wow.
So the
back to controllers.
No. Well, so I think we're done with. I mean, I think we're done with controllers. I tried to bring it, bring up the Xbox original, which was because it really was like one of the most polarizing controllers. Besides, well, I guess not really, because N64 was pretty weird.
It was.
maybe they thought, well, N64 worked, so what's going to be worse than like the Trident, fucking I mean, what, I mean, like, who's going to hate this? And maybe they thought, Dreamcast, because Xbox took a lot from Dreamcast. Like, I remember they took the whole internet system from them, like the way they were connecting to the internet. But I believe that maybe Dreamcast, they thought they were going to go in through like phone dial-up. But Xbox was like, we're going to take what you're doing, but we're going to set it up for DSL.
They did have something eventually later on to set up for broadband, but it was already like a little too late.
Yeah.
Because they started out with 56K and like,
oh, yeah, okay.
Hearing that damn sound.
Yeah, because you could, at the time, you could even play better over the internet on PC. Like, you could play Command and Conquer Red Alert online and just tear it up. And then you play something simple on Dreamcast, and you couldn't even do it. There was no online, I don't think they'd ever.
And you know what the real problem was? Dreamcast didn't have the single player support and trust, because that's the same problem Nintendo has right now, or at least I haven't played the Switch, but Nintendo's connection back to Wii sucked online. It's the online experience just isn't as great as Xbox and PlayStation.
It's gotten a lot better, I can say.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah,
wait, did you just say you haven't played the Switch?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've dabbled at friends' places for a couple minutes, but not in depth.
So you haven't played?
God.
You haven't played Zelda?
Probably for like half an hour.
It's awesome.
Wow, dude.
That game is great. I love Zelda, dude. It's
I gotta tell you, I haven't really played it. I've watched Leah play it a ton, and I just gotta say that, like, I know that I haven't played it, so this doesn't make sense for me to say, but if you were to make a list of the top 10 games of all time, that game has now made it on that list, I think. And that's
it's been a long. So. I've been waiting a long time for a game.
Maybe not.
For like a Zelda game to be like I love Ocarina. Ocarina is like it's always going to be one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
So what do you think?
And I've been waiting for a game to come close to rivaling that, like a Zelda one along like terms of Zelda. This does. This had that same. I got the same amount of fun out of this as I did that one. Like I like Majora's Mask, except I didn't like the 3-day reset. I like Twilight Princess a lot. I didn't like Skyward Sword. Was not really a fan of that.
Brian, did you say you think this?
I fucking played that.
Brian, you say you think this should be a top 10 or no of all time? We're talking all time.
I still put Link to the Past over Breath of the Wild. I don't know. That's just, it could be nostalgia reasons, but
a Link to the Past.
Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Link
I
to
don't
the
know.
Past
That was the original. That was the original like you go and you can just literally do any order dungeons you want. I mean, obviously.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, obviously Breath of the Wild kind of like perfected that, but like I don't know, for me it was always Link to the Past. Can't beat it.
Yeah, Link to the Past is like the perfect combination of complexity and simplicity. Like the variety of weapons and the amount of dungeons. What is it? Not there's the 3 in the light world, and then the 9 in the dark world, and the size of the world.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty simple controls. It's you can run omnidirectionally, but up to left, right, simple combat, simple throwing items. It's simple, but just a big sprawling game nonetheless. That's always going to be the best for me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same vein, Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of my favorite. That's probably my second favorite game of all time. Same thing. It's pretty simple platform, but long enough, customizable.
Well, let me close up with basically. Let me mute my mic by accident. Let me close up with we hit all these controllers. Next week we're gonna have another topic. Next week we're really gonna be talking about. We're gonna be giving our top. Sort of our top games of all time. So this is sort of a tease into that, I think. So next week we'll be talking about that. But to sort of close on something, I wanted to talk about the Battle Royale craze that's going on and what we think about this. It's very, to me,
it's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic. Yeah, it's
out of control now. That's basically what it is.
Well, to me, it's reminiscent of just the shooter phase of like everything's got to be a shooter and whatever. And now it's like everything's going to have Battle Royale in it. And, I get it because I really love PUBG and Fortnite's pretty fun. And some people love Fortnite better than PUBG. And everyone can't help but say it. Like, we all said it before it was even announced. Like, 8 months ago, we all said, or 6 months ago, we all said, oh, man, I hope they I'd like to see this in the new Halo game. Or I hope they put this in the Call of Duty. They're gonna put this in Call of Duty, everyone, everyone's just saying it's gonna be in everything. And now that they're doing it, it's kind of like you're rolling your eyes at it.
Well, if you remember, what was it? EA's press conference for E3.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there with Battlefield, and they announced, we got the mode you all been waiting for, Royale. And then everyone was starting to like boo because they're like, no, we want freaking Battle Royale, damn it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Fix the actual game first, like before you fucking start adding other shit. I don't know.
Well,
they keep messing that series up. In my opinion.
What they should have said is, they should have really just said all the stuff that was going to be in it. Like people need to. I think all these gaming companies and all these games would have been fine if they sort of said, hey, guess what? Battlefield's going to have this and that, and we're going with this story, and stuck to their own thing. But then at the very end, mentioned that. And, to put the icing on the cake, we're also going to have an option for a Battle Royale mode for you people that want that. It will be very interesting to see our game in that type of world and then move on. That way, they got us excited about we know they're staying the way they are, but then they throw that out. But most of them, it felt like, especially EA, of course, especially EA, led with that. Like, this is what we're doing. And it was like, oh, and I think that they're starting to find out really quickly that, I don't know, it's like people like PUBG and like Fortnite, but now are sort of being like, nah, but we don't want that in the other games. Although, I do remember we were excited for it in Red Dead when we heard about Red Dead having it. We got pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it was something exciting. And then you look at Fortnite and the craze that it has been because it's a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
And now you got all the little kids sitting there playing it instead of playing Minecraft anymore. They all go play Fortnite.
Yep.
And you look at, say, Call of Duty, which is coming up this fall, and all the people are like, well, why would I want to play a game of Battle Royale when I could go play, instead of spending $60, I'm going to go play a game for free. So they're all saying, well, why isn't this free or why isn't that free? They're making a big deal about the Black Ops Pass and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't want to spend up to $100 when I can go play for free.
Well, do you know how, honestly, what I would do if I was Call of Duty or if I was anybody, probably Call of Duty especially, I would actually release Call of Duty's new game the way it is and have it be the way it is. But I would also, I would release their own Battle Royale game separately. And I'm not kidding.
I agree.
With microtransactions, I would just copy the plan. Yeah, copy Fortnite.
You know what you do? you like a year and a half later, you do it like Halo 3 ODST.
Yep.
Like all this battle royale mode and all the DLC that's already come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost as if like all these companies, because it's hard to believe, because what, battle royale didn't get popular till what, like the start of December when PUBG came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to believe that all these companies like knew battle royale was going to be, you know, get popular. So now that you see like Black Ops has it, you know, Battlefield has it, Red Dead Redemption, you know, these are going to be like shitty battle royale versions.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to start seeing good effort put into battle royale modes in these games until like, you know, maybe a year or two from now. Because it's just hard to believe that, like, oh, we knew this was going to happen. So, like, you know, battle royale, you guys go.
Like, Call of Duty should be working on it separately, like, and having it be third person and first person, similar to PUBG, kind of copy that sort of idea, and work on building it just as its own thing, a separate team, whatever you got to do, and call it Call of Duty Battle. Like, that would, and sell it separately. It would be really a good idea, I think, that way for them. But,
well, the sad part for them not having a campaign, I think, really hurt them. And they had to just scramble to put something in, and that's why they have that mode Blackout now, which is the Battle Royale. So just to kind of make up for something. And there's still kind of a lack of content on day one, even though I pre-ordered the game, but it's like, you know, I'm more of a zombies player when it comes to Call of Duty. And, you know, it really fits for me. I mean, Battle Royale is like something like, okay, maybe I'll go to this once in a while and go sit and play it. But I kind of like, you know, you always kind of go back to Fortnite because the free-to-play model has really worked for them. Even though they're still in early access, it's like you'd think at this point, release, just call it the full game already. And, you know, the kids love it. And now, but so many people at this point, now these kids or whatever, and their parents are all freaking spoiled as hell. They're like, oh, I'm not going to pay $60 to go give you a game. But I do agree. I think that the Battle Royale should have been something separate. And I was hoping maybe they were going to do one for Halo and that they would make it like a separate mode or a separate game. I think it would have been a better idea.
I hope that they do it in Halo, but yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. But I am worried about it being oversaturated because if they're not good and exciting and different, you know, you're just going to roll your eyes at it like, oh, it's still funner to do Fortnite because you build, and it's still funner on PUBG because it's so weird and random.
Right.
Where the charm isn't there with maybe Halo and Call of Duty, because Halo and Call of Duty are so polished at this point that it's just feels like you're sort of playing a bigger version of their Slayer or Deathmatch in a way. Right. But also the reason why they're probably all announcing this, like you said, this is a good point. I forget if it was Moon or Troy that said it. I think it was Moon a second ago, and he said, well, how do they already have this made in December? Well, I think it's easy because I think it's just the code of, you know, everybody gets entered in it. Just allow everyone to be entered into a game, and it's every man for themselves or group up teams. That's all just coding probably. And like well, it's all coding all the time, but I mean, it's probably decent, like pretty easily done coding. And then
in Halo, it's just extreme multi-team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it's just let the game string up the numbers the way it happens. But yeah, if there's no charm to it, where PUBG, it's like these maps are specifically built. This thing is specifically built for this mode only. And it feels more interesting that PUBG's going to add some different versions of it, more than like maybe Halo doing it. It's like they're going backwards, whereas PUBG, like when they add this new war mode, that's going to be fun as hell, I feel like. And these other modes, I came up with things like Four Corners. I made up something last week where I thought that was cool, kind of like a, you know, King of the Hill, King of the Mountain thing in that game. I feel like introducing other play styles from other games in PUBG feels like fun and fresh and different, whereas like Call of Duty doing what PUBG does feels like I'm concerned. I don't know if that will work yet or not.
It's weird because they're doing it where it feels like the Blackout mode that they have is more of a nostalgia type of thing, because they're taking all the maps of the multiplayer and just kind of taking those familiar maps and mash them together. Yeah. And that's kind of weird to me, but I mean, I'm kind of down for that because I'm used to a lot of those maps, and whether it was zombies or whether it was a multiplayer map, they're putting them together. And the option to play is land, sea, and air. I think that's, you know, it's something interesting. But it does feel a little bit of like a nostalgia thing because, like, oh, you could play as any character or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, so it's one big nostalgia act, basically.
Who do you think will take over?
It just feels like something they're just mashing together quickly.
Yeah.
You know,
well, no, you're right.
Look, we have something.
To say, oh, we got Battle Royale too. I mean, yeah, that's my question is now is like, who do we think is going to take over that third spot? I know that H1Z1, know, the guy who made PUBG made H1Z1 or whatever, and H1Z1's on PlayStation, so that's, you know, the PlayStation exclusive for this time being, and PUBG's on Xbox, and Fortnite's everywhere. But, you know, and by the way, PUBG's mainstay is PC. PUBG's amazing on the PC. But who's going to be the third guy? Who's going to be the one that comes in? Is it going to be 343 Microsoft? Is it going to be Call of Duty? Is it going to be, you know, somebody else? Is Destiny going to have it? Rockstar, you think? What?
Every episode, Red Dead.
You know what? I will say that Halo is kind of in an advantage right now, because all of these games that are coming in with Battle Royale this year, Halo's not, well, from what I was reading, it's not coming out till like another 2 years. So it has a real advantage of like waiting to see, okay, what's working for like this company, what's working for that company. So they could really kind of just put together something and take what's successful from every company and put it into like, you know, their own. So I mean, I would probably say Halo has a good chance of like really doing their own thing with Battle Royale. It's possible.
People are saying that Red Dead isn't going to have it now, but I think if Red Dead were to have it, it's between Red Dead and Halo. I have some weird. To me, I think that Call of Duty would be the obvious one that it would work, but I don't know. It just feels like right now there's a cynical thing. Call of Duty's about to be where Halo was the last 5 years. I feel like. And I feel like Halo might be down for a resurgence finally after 8 years or something like that. But I think Red Dead is, when that comes out, man, I feel like that's going to sell. That's going to be the #1 seller and maybe the top 5 sales of all time. You know, maybe we might be talking about that. I don't know. And if they have that mode and they do it right, that could be your #3, possibly creep up higher than that. So we'll see. But, you know, Halo coming out in 2 years, isn't that kind of weird? I mean, because, is it going to be on the same console? Because I
heard it's supposed to come out with the new Xbox.
Yeah, it's going to be with the new one.
With like an Xbox 4?
Xbox 2? I don't know. Whatever they call it.
Because Microsoft's saying that they have more than one console planned for 2020.
Wow.
So, 2 different options right now.
That's so weird. Is it just like an upgrade to this console? Is it because it feels like right now that they're almost in that mode of like releasing updated versions of the current console. More, and everyone has always kind of done that. But this feels like they're in some kind of different, like, DLC console. Like, that's what we're kind of
like phones. Like, when you look at the iPhones, like, every year, it's like iPhone 7, and then it's like the 7 Plus or something like that.
Exactly. And it's not like, guess what, brand new console. Like, it's a whole new worked over thing. Because when they do that, then it feels like all the games need to change and engines need to be adjusted and things like that. Like, every time they do that, like, one of the most noticeable things is the hockey games. Because, like, you know, I mean, or the sports games. Like, it feels like the engine changes a little bit. Like, EA Sports 2007 hockey is jacked up. It's the first year of the new gen, and that game feels horrible, but you get where they're going, and you're like, this is going to be cool. But yet 2006, 5, and 3 were awesome. And then after that, you know, the recent one, 2015, that launched, or whatever, 14 for the Xbox One,
sucked.
That game was screwed up. It was like, wow, this is jacked up, you know, and it took them a few years to get back to it. So that's always happens when there's a brand new console.
Back.
Yeah, it still hasn't felt the greatest ever.
Yeah, because they said, from what I've been hearing, is that the models that they're going to have for the new Xbox, and these are just rumors, so, you know, take them with a grain of salt, but the first one that they said was just going to be like a base model, but it's going to be like the Xbox One X is right now. And the other model will be the premium one, but both consoles, they're trying to shoot for the 4K 60 frames. So that's their goal right now.
Yeah, 60 frames in general, I think, is like what they really want to hit, because it's supposed to be the standard. It should have been the standard with this generation, but
I agree.
You know, going back to the controller thing, look at what Casey Yates posted on Twitter. What the hell is that thing? Check out this gun Xbox controller. Wow. Dude, that is so wet.
I'm looking at Megatron or something for a second.
Yeah. That looks like a controller for like the PC back in like 1994 or 6.
Yeah.
Like one of those crazy controllers you could buy. Because there was so many, like, you know, you could probably do a whole show on that, like every version of a PC type of controller.
Right.
Because there was so many companies, so many people that, you know, within probably 1980, you know, you could go to the joysticks too, but 1985 to 1999, there were so many handheld controller types made that it's whacked out. Oh yeah, there's the Mad Cats. Look at that. See, people are tweeting me really good photos. So here's so on the this isn't even the one I have. I have a crazier one than this.
Oh my god.
But this is the big version of the Mad Cats.
Yeah.
But I have an even different one that's more, but yeah, that's basically it. But I have a bigger one. This is huge too. On the screen it kind of looks manipulated. It looks like the small one. It's not. That's just a big friggin' thing. Like it is really just
as I said,
big.
I had to get used to it, you know, and it was really weird for me in the beginning to get used to that controller, even though I was using a Dreamcast controller. But when I got started using to that one, it was a very rough adjustment. But then eventually I got used to it a little bit when I was playing Halo, and then the smaller controller came along, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get the smaller one and say fuck it. So. Yeah,
you know, I was so excited to play that I just didn't care. Like I ended up loving it and had no problem with it and whatever else.
Stay up all night and sit there playing Halo. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was. I mean, my life was over when Halo. When Halo was out, my life was over. When Diablo 2 was out, my life was over. When World of Warcraft originally was out, or it was like Warcraft or something. It was different. I forget what it was called, but it was called. What was it called? Leah, do you remember?
There's a bunch of Warcrafts, but then WoW is the multiplayer online open world one.
It was probably 2000.
Like there's I think there's like 3 Warcrafts.
2003.
Something like that. 2003. Yeah, I think that 2003 would probably be World of Warcraft.
Yeah, so it was.
World of Warcraft.
Well, times.
It's gonna be.
The game is scaring me, bro.
The time forgot.
It still sucks you back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm playing it right now.
Oh.
I do. Someone said I have a big one
between Diablo and that.
I'll be playing Diablo with D-Moon after this, or if he's up.
I'm still really angry with Diablo and them.
The goblins. I heard the story.
It's not just the goblins. It's like when the Necromancer came out, I came back to the game. I was excited about the Necromancer. I found a build I liked and everything, and then they just decided to nerf it for no fucking reason.
Well, there was something weird about going into the game. There's an 80% chance there's a goblin or 2, and then leaving the game and then going back in that was there and going back. So there was something wrong about the spawning, but it was like, come on, just leave it in the game.
It had been there forever, and it only got brought to anybody's attention because some stupid fuck idiot brought it up on a fucking YouTube video when he knows. Because, Diablo had tweeted out his stuff before.
Yeah, he was like, they don't even know. Remember he said, they don't listen to me. And it was like, what are you talking about? They tweeted you yesterday, and you said, thank you. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so he fucking knew. It was his fault because everybody else kind of, he's like, other people talk about it. And it's like, they kind of slipped it in the middle of videos. They didn't make a whole video with it on the screen, super secret goblin run and fucking tweet it out and everything else. It's like,
yeah, he really,
you fucking, it was him. It was 100%. And you know what? He took the fucking video down after we gave him shit. A day later. So he fucking knew it.
Do you remember the video he made the next day? This is so funny because, guys, he did this because of us. It's so weird.
I'm such a liar, yeah.
I said, you're such a dickhead and everything. And then Leah really called him out. But we were the only ones. In fact, we got attacked by his fans. And I like the guy. You know what I mean? I do like the guy, but I called him out.
I said, dude, ruined it.
I said, dude, you're going to get it taken away for all of us.
Hey, some of my best friends are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
This dude's a moron, though. You know that the game creators are fucking retweeting you and following your shit, so you're gonna it's super secret.
He goes, my listeners. He goes, my listeners deserve to know and all this stuff, and it was like, well, whatever. But
yeah, you just took it away from all your listeners, you fucking tard.
That's what I said to him.
Oh my God.
But the next day he made a video I am getting death threats, and it is
death threats.
He wrote that.
Tommy NC.
No, he legitimately made this whole video about getting death threats about, now, guys, if you want to criticize me for that, Go ahead. It is your decision, but this is unacceptable. And like
I
people,
feel like you're putting on a Vince Russo voice.
no, that's kind of his voice. No, I swear to God, no, I'm pretty sure I'm nailing his voice.
I know, it just sounded like Vince Russo.
But here's the thing. Then a bigger YouTuber who's known for Diablo 3 is Riker, and he's got like hundreds of thousands. And he made a video like about this guy like getting hate, and he goes, "It's unacceptable over this and blah blah," and he went through the whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, this is all because of me and Leah's comments on this guy's video. This is so weird. And I love both the guys too, like, so I'm like, this is so bizarre.
Yeah, well, stupid Riker went and like made the video. It's like, you don't even like have him prove the death threats.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, show me the death threats, because
we didn't give you it. I was just like, you're an idiot and you ruined this for everybody. Like, why would you do this?
Nobody death threatened him. He just did it for sympathy. And then he was like, I know he did it.
Yeah, because then he came back and he was like, oh, my fans deserve to know. It's like, you just ruined it for your fans. I told him, I was like, you know that Blizzard tweets out your streams and follows you and clearly sees what you're doing and your video and like tweets out your videos and everything else. So you go and make a video about something that's a secret, and he didn't respond to me after that. He ended up blocking me.
Yeah, he even said in the video,
I'll just take that as I'm right.
An exploit or is it not an exploit? I don't know, but it's there. Like, listen to his voice. You'll. Oh, wait a minute. I don't even know if you can hear sounds. Can you hear this?
Start your season.
Yeah.
Now, once you have your challenge rift done and jump in the game, the first thing you're going to want to do before you do anything else is run over to your follower, preferably your Templar, or maybe even your Enchantress.
It's the Goblin Run. It's the best Goblin Run there is. And they told me that they gave me death threats. And folks, if you want to criticize me, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I have a regular job. I go to my job. I take care of my kids. And to come on here and to receive death threats is unacceptable.
If he received a death threat, it wasn't from us.
And he didn't. I don't think he got one.
And he didn't prove it because we were asking him for
we asked him. I said, hey, can you tell me who it was? Because people mess around on here. I want to corroborate it and see if it's the same person that I know. And I made that up. And he just was like, no. This is like, oh man, but his channel's killing it now. It's like the guy's killing it. I'm like, this, oh man, because once I sort of see that somebody's fake like that, it drives me nuts after that.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh my God, dude, you're so full of it. But anyway, we really got to wrap this up. I really appreciate everybody being here. This was I love talking about this. We could talk another 3 hours probably, but.
No kidding.
Let's go play PUBG instead.
Oh yeah, Moon wants to play. We were going to play Diablo, but yeah, we should play PUBG. I guess, right?
For PUBG. Yeah.
All right.
PUBG.
I do want to play Diablo some more, but let's play PUBG. Brian, do you want to play PUBG?
I would, but I got to get up for work early in the morning, so I wouldn't be able to do it right now.
That's okay. We'll hit you up the next time.
I would say in the next, not this week, but the week after, I'm off all week, so we can definitely do PUBG and shit.
All right, we'll do that. And
we'll get off all next week.
Let me say too.
Wait, what?
Brian, you don't really ever plug your stuff. Why don't you plug your YouTube? Because Himmelgod's been doing some really good gaming. If you haven't heard his E3 breakdown, like, it's so good. It's really good. Like, it's not even like it's not somebody who just made a channel and he's just talking about whatever. Like, he's very like, you really have this shit broken down. What's the YouTube channel?
It's youtube.com/BuzzKillerB. That used to be my old name back on Dreamcast. So.
Never tell anybody that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, no, Buzzkiller Bees. That's a pretty cool name. Except for
is that the initial B or is that the Bzz B?
No, it was the initial B. So, because they wouldn't let me use Buzzkiller because that's how I was when I was playing Quake. It's like, damn, you're a fucking Buzzkiller.
Is that a hard R in killer, or are you the Buzzkiller, so to say?
Buzzkiller.
No, it was the hard R, man.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
But
the hard R killer.
Sometimes you can catch D Moon streaming too. D Moon, if you want to plug that. I don't know if you're Twitch or YouTube.
Catch him on stream.
Yeah, usually I just stream random PUBG on PC videos. You just follow me on D Moon on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Troy.
Yeah, I'm also on Twitch, so you guys can find me there too. So once in a while.
Well, you guys will be able to download this episode. If you're a patron, you can download this episode in audio. If you want, tomorrow, maybe a little bit later, I'll have it up for you. We'll what else did I want to say? It's going to be going on iTunes at some point too, I think, as well. And it will be replayed on Twitch as well. I don't think anybody's really going to go there to listen to it, but it will be there anyway. And that's it. I loved what we did last week, and I really liked what we did this week. And next week we'll talk about our favorite games of all time. That will be a monstrous thing. Same time, I guess, if that works. You know, you don't have to. Sure. You know, some people may not always be able to be here, but you know, we'll try to do it around the time everybody can be here.
Sure.
Somebody said, "Do I have to be a patron of $30 or more, Joe, to do this podcast?"
Well, said that, Steven?
Well, technically, there is a tier on my Patreon where I owe you a one-on-one, or we do our own podcast. You know, so there is a tier for that on there. It's not necessarily why D-Moon and Himmelgod are here. They're really just here because they're gamers. They know what we're talking about. But at the same time, like, absolutely, like, it kind of kills two birds with one stone, I guess. But they didn't ask to do a podcast with me. I asked them to do this, so they didn't even use their credit or whatever you want to call it. You know, and I don't do that to say like, oh, I'm God, give me $20 a month and I'll do a podcast with you. No, that's stupid. It's more just like I don't have time to do a bunch of things. So if you're really serious, then there's a category. But to be honest, I mean, if you're really good, or you know, you can have a conversation. You know, as long as you can talk, you know, you can be on the show. Just send me a message on Patreon or DM on Twitter if you want to talk next time. And we'll try to get it in there. And I may try to do even side gaming podcasts and stuff like that. So,
so Steven German's going to be sending his right away, right?
Yeah, if we ever have a loneliness and mental illness episode, all the viewers can call in.
Oh my God. What are you, Dave Rose? Dave Rose went from saying like all your fans are idiots to like only some of the fans. Like now he has to backtrack. I noticed.
Temper it. You gotta feel it out.
Well, I noticed that he was getting crap from the people on other shows and stuff, like saying, wait a minute.
Here's the thing I know. Anyone that's listening to the gaming podcast right now are people that either call me Todd or make fun of my driving, so fuck them.
You're driving. Come on, man.
Yeah, you know, you do good. You're like 70% good, you know? I mean, really.
I know. That's why I have to talk shit to the fans, because they don't know anything. I'm the smart fan in PUBG. I think
that video that you guys, Joe, that video you showed, and we were watching from Monetize This, where he's driving into the building that's not even there. I mean, that shit was great.
Oh yeah, that was at a power plant.
I lost it, dude, because I had just done it the day before, so I was like, don't go in the building, dude. The PUBG, it hasn't loaded.
I knew it wasn't there, but I couldn't stay with the opportunity of trying to run over a guy that was in the building. Can you imagine being that guy? You're in the building, like, hey, I got a level 3 helmet Jeep.
I'm dying to know what it looked like, though. I'm dying to know if like the Jeep was appearing through walls to him, like, or not.
It must have. We were in the building. If he had walls, I'm sure. There was a video I saw today. It just goes through.
Oh really? Like
it just goes through.
Oh you like fall in a pit, right?
Yeah.
He fell in random holes in the map.
Blew up.
No, believe it or not, the hole that is like where the beam was. Like so, like the trees have roots under the ground. Why is that in the game? You know, like. You ever see
random holes like that? I saw another video of the same thing today. Like a guy is sitting in the passenger seat and he has an Xbox One X, but the guy driving doesn't. So from his point of view, they keep slamming into cars and buildings, and it makes contact. It's like it freaks out, but then it just goes through because the guy driving doesn't have the buildings.
Oh my God!
Until eventually the building loads and it falls in a giant. It's weird. It falls in a crater, like there's a hole in the ground. And as it falls into the crater, the building spawns above them, just like we did in that little one. But their Jeep doesn't explode, so they just get trapped underground forever.
Well, guys, listen. This was great. I want to thank everybody. Himmelgod for joining us. Yeah, check out his YouTube. D-Moon, check out his. We got Troy. He never wants to plug anything.
Check us out now.
What?
Check us out now.
Yeah, check us out now. Come back and listen to the next podcast. I want to thank all of the patrons, everybody
I was here.
Oh, I was gonna get to you.
Forgotten again.
No, I was gonna get to you. You're last. Shh.
Yeah.
What? I swear to God, you're next. Well, I was gonna say thanks to my beautiful wife who did all that work for our daughter today at the dance thing.
Joe, you're sleeping on the couch tonight. There we go.
That's all right. She's on the rag.
Kids, they don't sleep anyway.
She's on the rag anyway. Oh my god.
Fuck.
Dude, I remember when this guy used to come over my buddy's house all the time and be like, "What are you doing here, Jim?" And he'd be like, bitches on the rag. Like, what the fuck? It's a typical day in Southie. But listen, guys, again, thank you guys. We'll see you in the next podcast. Again, thank you to everybody who super chatted tonight, even Steven German, who said all that weird stuff that I'm still not really sure of what he was talking about. And everybody who's a patron, you guys are the ones that made this free for everybody and made this, able to do this. So thank you. Come back next week for episode 2. And at some point, this will go on the gaming YouTube channel, but we still can't have super chat over there, so I figured do it over here so people will be a part of it. We're going live on Twitch right now to play some PUBG, so if you guys want to join us, we're live on Twitch right now, so join us over there. We'll see you next time.
I'm driving.
And Troy's driving. Driving into a ditch. This video and podcast is made possible because of Patreon. You can hear more of these episodes in audio form and download several other ones on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, my official Patreon page, where you can hear the gaming podcasts, the Corrupted podcast every week, and podcasts that we do about everything else. Without patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, we wouldn't be able to do these videos. So think about becoming a patron because YouTube's censoring videos, not sending them out to you, not alerting you about them, and also taking away the ad revenue. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You can see it by going to the website on your computer, tablet, or downloading the app on your phone.